Welcome back, tankers. Captain here. Today is a very special day because we're going to be taking a look at a very top secret tank that has been leaked out from the Wargaming archives. This tank hasn't made it into the game yet, but it's pretty special. And what you can see is that the two main things that make this thing special is this massive gun mounted on a Tier 1 USA Cunningham chassis. So this tank is called the Cunningträger auf E75. And from what I can gather, the E75 part is in reference to the 75 millimeter Tier 5 gun with an autoloader on this tank. So from what I can gather from the people I've been talking to, Serb has said that this tank is basically the Tier 1 equivalent of what the Waffenträger auf E100 is at Tier 10. So basically, he wanted people to be able to kill 4 tanks in one clip at Tier 1. So, yeah, I mean, it's very similar to he wanted to be able to kill a Tier 10 tank in one clip at Tier 10. He's now taking that formula and applying that to Tier 1. So we're going to see a lot of tanks probably getting the same equivalents, maybe Tier 10 with the weird unbalanced nature, coming to more of the lower tiers and trying to get people to play the lower tier tanks more. So this is a really, really special tank. As you can see, it's actually a German tank, but they've got it made up as though it's an American tank. So it's very similar to the M10 Panther / Hellcat wannabe premium Tier 7 tank. A few modifications, as you can see. Much like the E100, they have very wide tracks. They actually widen the tracks in the T1 Cunningham, so it's a lot wider. As you can see, like really, really wide tracks. And you can also see they've added another light to the front, and the camouflage carries over from the T1 Cunningham onto this really special looking tank. So we'll take a quick look at the stats here. Not as many hit points as a regular T1 Cunningham, only 105, so you're going to have to be careful. The one thing that you do have to pay attention to is the weight. This thing weighs 17 tons because of the barrel and all the ammunition, and just when it can carry this many rounds of 75 millimeter shells at Tier 1, that's pretty impressive. So we've got a 102 horsepower engine, which isn't very much for a 17-ton tank. So you got 21 speed limit. So think T28 here with a traverse speed of 18. Not very good. So we're not going to get very good speed or very good turning, but at Tier 1, you're basically playing on like 600 meter across maps, right? So you're not really going to have to worry about moving around too much because you're not going to go very far. And much like the E100 chassis on the Tier 10 tank, this tank carries those same attributes over, where we've got 50 hull armor all around. You're not gonna find a Tier 1 tank that can penetrate this thing very easily in the hull. So don't shoot at the hull. Much like the Waffenträger E100, you want to shoot at the turret because the turret only has 1 millimeter of armor. You could probably sneeze, or one of the crew members could turn around and maybe elbow the armor and dent it. So you gotta be really careful. Even driving through trees might be able to damage the top part of this tank. So we'll get onto the gun last because it's the most important thing in this tank. 26 turret traverse, so it's not going to turn very quick. And view range of 360. This is fantastic view range and completely balanced view range considering how slow it is. This is completely balanced. So 360 view range, you've got a little bit better than most Tier 5 heavy tanks. So you could probably actually end up fighting a lot of tanks that are way higher in your tier, because this thing actually gets really odd matchmaking. Your matchmaking is going to be tiers 1 to 4. So you've really got to pay attention to what tanks you're engaging when you're using this tank, because of just how balanced it is with it having such a great gun at Tier 1. So you're going to get really weird matchmaking, but that's okay. So your signal range is unchanged at 265, so you can always bank on that. That's not changing. So importantly here, you can see that we got 2 crew members, and these guys are made up like Americans because they're actually Germans, but they even have American names like Sarson and Menard. So they're going to be able to fool whoever they're coming across, obviously. So much like the Cunningham, you've got the commander taking on many of the skills, and the driver can also help load. He can just, if you stop this tank, there's actually a special function where the driver can get out and you can't move the tank, and it will actually double your reload speed. So you're going to be looking at half the reload speed for your clip. So let's move on to the gun here. You can see down here, it's a tier 5 gun, little autoloader thing there. And very, 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 very impressive gun. So what you're going to be getting with this tank is a rate of fire of 6. So this thing actually carries 4 rounds in its clip, exactly like the E100. Is it 4 or is it 6? No, it's 4. I'm pretty sure it's 4. One of them carries 6. But yeah, so 6 rounds a minute here, and that's because this thing takes 45 seconds to reload its clip. So it's got a fairly long reload time, think 5100 here. And if we look at the standard shell penetration, some of this has been redacted. I'm not sure why. It looks like we've got 65 to X amount of penetration here. This is probably up in the 125 area because from what I understand, this is actually an L48 gun from the Tier 5 Panzer IV. So it's a little bit low, but I'm assuming this is going to be somewhere around 110 for penetration on the high end. But we can't be sure. Standard shell damage, 95 to 115, so that's falling in range. Very, very much like the Panzer IV. So just an amazing gun to have at Tier 1. You're going to be able to one-shot like tank after tank after tank after tank, like 4 times. So if you run into T-18s, bam, 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 you know, you could probably kill 2 or 3 of them in one clip because they don't have that many hit points, right? And wow. Like, I just can't imagine how powerful this tank is going to be. Like, I know it's slow, but it has awesome view range. I hear the camo on it's like tier 5 camo basically on a scout tank, but you're applying it to a tier 1 tank destroyer. So that's also really impressive. What else can I talk about here? One more thing. We'll take a look at some of the what kind of ammo this thing uses. It just uses regular AP, and then you've got AP CR shells. So I assume that the penetration on these are probably going to be well into the 170s. Think about TOG range. So you might be able to actually take this into a tier 6 or a tier 7 game and be able to hit guys from fairly far away. Because from what I understand, the accuracy has also been buffed. Normally this gun is 0.3 in accuracy. They've taken the L48, worked it over a little bit, and we're looking at like 0.31 accuracy. So another fantastic thing about this tank is that, yeah, you're going to get fantastic accuracy, much like the Waffenträger E100. And yeah, this thing is going to absolutely wreck everything at tier 1. Like, people are going to be, all the seal clubbers out there, all going to be selling their T18s to get their hands on this thing, completely balanced. And I can't imagine how many kills people are going to rack up in this thing. It's just going to be like a killing ground on Province, one of the tier 1 maps. You're going to be able to sit in the back, be completely impervious to getting shot at, and you're just going to be able to shoot seals crossing over the middle of the map, and you're just going to one after another, after another, after another. And if you're not moving, you can always pop out the driver, you know, double your reload speed down to like 25, 22 instead of 45. So really, really, really special tank. And I'm really happy that, you know, Wargaming is finally starting to release some information about it. And the Cunningträger auf E75 absolutely blows me away. Like, being able to have a 75 millimeter gun on a tier 1 tank with an autoloader, it's just, for all the tank destroyer loving people in this game, this is really what I think they've been asking for. I mean, you've got a lot of overpowered, unbalanced tanks at like tier 9 and 10. We've got to try and bring that unbalanced nature to some of the other tiers. We've got KBS and the Hellcat at tier 6, but really, I mean, there's nothing really unbalanced at tier 1. Um, you have to really get up to tier 2 with the T18 before you really run into the stuff that's like completely unbalanced that's never going to change like the T18. So finally at tier 1, we have a tank that can probably compete with the T18 for being able to take advantage of newer players, being able to kill as many as you can and kind of demoralize them to pad your stats. And that's really what this tank's about. It's really about just trying to make newer players feel bad about themselves so they can't understand the spotting mechanics and stuff, and to make your stats better so you can get into Relic or Havoc or something. So honestly, one of the most impressive looking new tanks to come out. Probably going to cost a fair bit, but they also might release this as a Clan Wars tank. You know, it could be a reward for, you know, all the players that are playing in Clan Wars at tier 10. Obviously, they don't have a lot of money or credits, so this thing, they'll get it, and then they'll be able to make a little bit more money because they're probably short on cash being in the clans that they're in. So getting a prize like this is great. It's like being at the Super Bowl and winning a car when you're already a millionaire. It's just awesome for those players, and it's really, really nice to reward all the tier 10 players with free tanks that can really devastate players at tier 1. And that's one of the more exciting things about this tank that I really like. So I don't know. You're going to have to chime in the comments here. Say what you think about this tank. I think it's fantastic. Like, do you think it's overpowered? Do you think it doesn't need a bigger gun? Do you think it doesn't have enough rounds in its clip? Maybe it should get a little bit of speed buff. Maybe it's a little bit too slow. I sometimes find that in the Hellcat. It's a little bit slow. I wish it had a little bit more alpha damage. Things like that. I think this tank is just fantastic. And yeah, so let me know what you think. Is there anything that you would do to this tank that would maybe make it better before it actually comes out, like as a premium tank or a reward tank for Clan Wars? It's just really exciting to see more stuff like this coming out at lower tiers. So yeah, so just let me know what you think. And very exciting times for wargaming, and for things like this to be able to happen is just exciting. So thanks for watching, and if you have any questions or you want this picture in higher res or something, just ask for it, and you'll be able to find it on my Facebook page or Google+. So thanks for watching, and wow, amazing. Thank you, Wargaming.